So now let's continue to read this. In the future, there will be millions of men who can't marry, and that could pose a very big risk to society, warns Li Shizhuhao, a leader demographer at Xi'an Jiaotong University. Out of China's population of 1.4 billion, there are nearly 34 million more males than females. 34 million. The equivalent of almost the entire population of California or Poland, who will never find wives and only rarely have sex. China's official one-child policy, in effect from 1979 to 2015, ladies, it is 2022. This one-child policy only ended 7 years ago. Only 7 motherfucking years ago. In effect, from 1979 to 2015 was a huge factor in creating this imbalance, as millions of couples were determined that their child should be a son. Now, why were they determined that their child should be a son? Because I'm going to tell you something. Men have been jealous of women for a long time. You know why? Because mitochondrial DNA can only be passed down from a woman to a daughter. It cannot be passed down to a male. That DNA practically evaporates within them in the pass down. And so the feminine is never without. Let me tell y'all something. The feminine always exists. When a woman is with child, and that child is a girl, that child has all the eggs that she will ever have in the womb. And there is in that egg that she has is the other egg, right? That will become the grandchild. So feminine energy always exists and it never depletes. The XY on the other end has to be created from the female. So men wanted to take the place of the woman by having sons so that they could have an XY to pass down, because that is the only way that they could remain in existence. And the only way that they could do that is to force women to believe that God is a fucking man, which would cause a desire for them to keep bringing boys into the world against divine order. That is how women decided to murder those unborn baby girls, which caused a divine lop. Psalms 82:5, they know not, neither will they understand. They go on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. All the foundations of the earth are out of course because you have wiped the motherfucking woman out of the goddamn picture because you jealous of this divine God. You are rebelling against God, and that bitch is coming back. That bitch is coming back. And she had to let this happen so that you will have evidence in your hand to dispute the bullshit that has been created in Abrahamic motherfucking religions. Abrahamic religions are a lie. Jesus Christ is not fucking God. A man is not God. And this is the evidence to show you that. Out of China's population of 1.4 billion, there are nearly 34 million more males than females, the equivalent of almost the entire population of California or Poland, who will never find wives and only rarely have sex, right? India, a country that has a deeply held preference for sons and male heirs, has an excess, listen to me, has an excess of 37 million males, according to its most recent census. The number of newborn female babies compared with males has continued to plummet. They are trying to wipe the woman out of this earth because they want to take her place. The number of newborn female babies compared with males has continued to plummet, even as the country grows more developed and prosperous. The imbalance creates a surplus of bachelors and exacerbates human trafficking. This is what happens when you have an abundance of men on the damn planet. Chaos, destruction, right? Exacerbates human trafficking, both for brides and possibly prostitution. So they snatching up the human girls to use them as tools because they need women, but they didn't realize how much they needed them because they hate her so much and they want her place. And now they realize they can't have her goddamn place. You can never be a woman. You will never have the power that a woman has, and you've tried it, and look what you did to the planet. Officials attribute this to the advent of sex-selective technology in the last 30 years, which is now banned but is still widespread practice. In the two countries, 50 million excess males are under age 20. 50 million excess males, excess. They don't need women, no. You ain't the value, though. And their very life and their very existence depends on you. And when they tried to wipe you out, look how they suffering. But you believe in Abrahamic religions who have wiped a woman out of history. They completely wiped the woman out of history. And they showing you through real-time data in your fucking face that shit is bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Look at this. Look at this on the screen. Right? These lines represent the number of girls from newborns to age 4 in China and in India since 1970, with projections out to 2100. The darkest lines show the number of male babies during the same period. You see these dark lines? 45 million boys, over 39 million girls. 63 million boys, over 57 million girls. That is out of natural divine order. The shaded area is the difference between these boys and girls. The number of young boys in India and China has outpaced the number of young girls by millions for at least 20 years. When looking at just the ratio of boys to girls in a country, it may look as if the gap has narrowed. But its effects on marriage have yet to peak. The biggest gap between men and women of marriageable age, defined here, is 15 to 29. Will come in the next few decades as the babies of the past decade grow up. And factoring in the large pool of both unmarried older and younger men vying for the same small pool of young women, the gap becomes more of a chasm. Both nations are belatedly trying to come to grips with the policies that created this male-heavy generation, and demographers say it will take decades for the ramifications of the bulge to fade away. In the 4 sections below are personal tales that show how the imbalance has affected. Number 1, village life and mental health. Among men, loneliness and depression are widespread. Now, if you were here since the beginning of this show, you know that we read where a man has unalived himself trying to play tough that he ain't want no woman and no kids. But deep down, these men are suffering pure loneliness. Villages are emptying out. Men are learning to cook and perform other chores long related to women. Stagnant lives. Housing prices and savings rates. Bachelors are furiously building houses in China to attract wives, and prices are soaring, but otherwise they are not spending, and that in turn fuels China's huge trade surplus. In India, there is the opposite effect. Because brides are so scarce, families are under less pressure to save for expensive dowries. The desperate effort to land a bride. Human trafficking. Trafficking of brides is on the rise. All these men increase violent crime. But let men tell it, they ain't shit, they ain't did nothing, they benevolent. But you put them in bulk and what happens? They become ravaging savages to destroy everything that they put their hands on. Trafficking in brides is on the rise. Foreign women are being recruited and lured to China, effectively creating similar imbalances in China's neighbors. Importing a bride. This is what happens when God is a man, which is a created fairy tale worth a bunch of bullshit. They know not, neither will they understand. They go on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. And that is because men have usurped the divine place of woman. That's why. Public safety. Oh, shit. Public safety. Having too many men is a threat to public safety. With the increase in men has come a surge in sexual crime in India and concerns about a rise in other crimes in both countries. Harassment of schoolgirls in India has in some towns sparked an effort to push back, but at a cost of restricting them to more protected lives. Men, I don't give a fuck what they say. Nature The very nature of a man is destructive and dangerous to women, as you see it here right in front of your eyes. The increase in men on China and India has caused a public safety threat. That is not the case with a bunch of women. But you got pygmies around here trying to convince you as a woman that it's just you. It's just the man you choose. Baby, there is a nature about men. And you about a motherfucking fool if you want to keep ignoring the nature of a man all over the motherfucking globe. This ain't about no fucking black men. This is about men, period. All over the globe. Black men just at the absolute bottom. Let's see. So I want to read the Stagnant Lives part to you. Chapter 1. We're not going to read all of it, but I'm going to read some of it. The growing number of eligible men who cannot find brides has had a profound impact on the old rhythms of family life. Adult sons live with their mothers, in some cases their grandmothers. Men are the same all over the motherfucking globe. They living with their mama, their grandmama. Because I keep telling you that the nature of a lion is to roach up on women. Now, I got some shit for you tonight, baby. I got some shit for you tonight. I didn't come to play. I didn't come to play with these dudes. I don't give a fuck what they talking about. I don't give a fuck if they dick fall off. I don't care what the fuck they talking about. But anyway, let's continue to read what's really happening. All right. The growing number of eligible men who cannot find brides has a profound impact on the age-old rhythms of family life. Adult sons live with their mothers, in some cases their grandmothers. Indian and Chinese women who showed a marked preference for sons are growing old. They are still burdened with cooking and cleaning for their adult sons. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen. They preferred sons, and they asked and got old, and they still burdened with cooking and cleaning for their adult sons. And they drained because patriarchy ran a mind fuck on them, and now you suffering until you in the grave cooking for grown ass motherfuckers, right? That suck you dry. Suck you dry. Listen to what the lady say. They are still burdened with cooking and cleaning for their adult sons, and the stress affects their health. I've cried so much I can't see anymore, says one. I've cried so much that I can't see anymore, says one. The gender imbalance could prompt a crisis of masculinity, as traditional roles are upended and males embrace socially regressive stances to prove their manhood, says Prem Chowdhury, a researcher and social scientist in New Delhi. People devalue their masculinity if they remain single. They will be declared not men at all. Y'all hear this? If they remain single, they will be declared not men at all. Ladies, stop listening to these nutcases over here in America. Get a world view so you can see what's really going on. Men over there, if you single, you ain't no man. What's wrong with you? Over there is, at least I got a woman. But do you have a woman? Do you have a wife? All that other shit you talking about, do you have a wife? That's how it really supposed to be. Men get their validation from women. If a woman is being validated by the existence of a man, she a damn fool. You a motherfucking fool. I hear all that stuff you talking about, but where your husband? Do you have a husband? That is not the natural divine order. Men are the lonely motherfuckers, right? They are the lonely ones. The prize and the wealth is within women. The man's value is predicated on whether he got a woman or not. Not the other motherfucking way around. That's the reason why patriarchy created this bullshit, Mr. and Mrs. Every policy that they have put in place was to go against nature. And these are the results of nature being fought against. You can't take God's place, sir. You can't take that bitch throne, sir. And the universe sent my ass here to wake women up. And you ain't gonna stop it, sir. You fucked up and let an intelligent bitch get the microphone. You fucked up and let an intelligent bitch experience the reality of y'all. If they remain single, they will not be declared men at all. The basic function of a man in rural society is to have a family and look after that family. Why were men given families? Because men have no direction without somebody forcing or giving them a purpose. So if they was gonna turn the tables on women, they had to give man a purpose, which was family. I'm finna be the first one to tell y'all ain't finna hear this shit nowhere else. I'm the first one to tell you that the nuclear family is bullshit. The nuclear family is bullshit. The concept of the nuclear family is bullshit. Because the nuclear family was created to give every man a woman, which is out of natural divine order. Because the true setup was polygyny. Yeah, the true setup was polygyny, which left the majority of men without a woman. And only the elevated man had the reward of being accepted amongst a community of women. Only the elevated man had the privilege and the honor and the reward of being accepted amongst a community of women. That motherfucker didn't get to choose no woman. The women chose his ass. That's how that shit worked. And the average male was supposed to stay with a dry dick. His shit was supposed to fall the fuck off. And the top males were to keep that man in check. Men were created to keep other men in check. But because they ain't keeping them in check, because they stole the woman's nature and created a false sense of community amongst themselves, they allow each other to run rampant, destroying women, children, and the whole motherfucking planet. They done fucked up and let a God bitch come here. That's why I don't give a damn what none of these motherfuckers, bitch, you cannot talk to me. Nothing. I ain't listening to nobody. In rural areas, men who didn't get married are really marginalized. Ladies, the men who don't get married are marginalized. Even socializing in the village is difficult, said Therese Hesketh, a professor of global health at University College of London. These guys are depressed. You heard Andrew Tate say that they was depressed? PubMed research papers, these peer-reviewed research. So Medical News Today, living alone and divorce linked to inflammation in men. But they need women as much as they do, and they don't realize the privilege that patriarchy has given them to have women that they shouldn't have, and now that they have them, this is how they treat them. Males are treating the very person that they need like shit because they didn't earn the women like they were supposed to, because patriarchy gave them access that they didn't earn, and they are destroying women left and right. Living alone and divorce linked to inflammation in men. Divorce or relationship breakups are associated with poorer health in men. A new study looking at middle-aged adults in Denmark found that living alone and experiencing more relationship breakdowns are linked to higher levels of inflammation in men. Stop right there. Let's go to Think and Grow Rich. Let's go to Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. When was this right here copywritten? What year? Copyright. See. Where's the original copyright? Published 1937. It was published in 1937. Disappointment over love affairs generally has the effect of driving men to drink and women to ruin. Driving men to drink and women to ruin. New study looking at middle-aged adults in Denmark found that living alone and experiencing more relationship breakdowns are linked to higher levels of inflammation in men. It is not good that man should be alone. In the quote-unquote Bible, males have never been able to self-sustain because masculine energy is not an independent energy. It is a dependent energy. And when it is not linked to the feminine, it crumbles. This is why they don't care about how they hurt you. And this is why they're so selfish, because they need you for their survival. The study found no such link in women. You hear that? Do you hear that? The study found no such link in women. The reason why males spend hours and hours and hours on their podcast to try to convince you that you need them, it's because they need you like they need air. Because if they don't have you, they will perish.